How's it going, everybody? Shinigami here to bring you a Theory Thursday video. Hold up, let me fix this. You can do better than that. Bam. Yes, welcome back, everybody. As I said, I thought I'd have something pulled out for y'all since we don't got a chapter review this time, this week. But we do have a very good theory racking around our brains. Now, I've been thinking about since the reveal of the mural, and of course even back since NL's cover story, the depiction of, the recent revelation that Loki has actually met Roxy Sebek, and the interpretation that the Giants have for said, whatchamacallit, we'll put this over here so that way I can fucking navigate the web the way I see fit. There you go, sorry. As we've seen with how the Giants themselves talk about Nika, and there's countless variations of what Nika is and how he behaves. Some of them, I mean, obviously we saw with like Jinbei being one of the first ones to actually point out, hey, is that the god of liberation? And then we get to Elbaf, and some of them are calling him, god of liberation. Others are calling him the god of destruction, sun god, whatever, blah blah blah. But it is quite baffling. Let me see if this one's it. Nah, that's not it. It's taking me a little bit of time to find this fucking panel because I don't want to have to go back so many chapters when they were going over it. No, here it is. Yeah, there it is. Found it again, fucking on Reddit. Actually, we're just gonna stay with Google. Oof. Gotta redo that search. But something tells me there's multiple variations to Sun God Nika, right? Let me find that fucking one I just had. Holy shit. Again, highly productive stream we got going here. But I want to talk about the mural and how it depicts 3 different variations of the world that kind of have happened, right? So, in this beautiful version that we have, right? I'm not too in the way, I think I'm good. This first one, I think, is just purely depicting this thing right here on the right with the, basically the red serpent that I believe did turn into the red line. And kind of like Jormungandr encompassed, is encompassing the world. And, whatchamacallit, his death or his resting place basically became a land that people were able to settle upon at the top. And after learning that it's been at least 3,000 years since that first era, where the creation of Sun God Nika even appeared, this is the first battle that had to take place. Second battle, right here in the middle, with this bird. You even see the ship that basically Nell uses to fly to the fucking moon. You got the Noah. You have a king being struck by lightning, and also the treasure tree Adam tree that we believe is from Elbaf because of how huge it is. This would be depicting the second war, Joy Boy, and continuing from that same one, we have right here, the combined efforts of the mink, the sea folk, regular giants, ancient giants, the iron giant, which is believed to be an Emeth, a Laboon type character, the Lumerian right here with the fucking wings, Sulong form minks, even the Tontara right behind the mermaid, even a giant fish, which could be, be perceived as being the Sea Kings, right? And you got a few other characters here, right? Possibly the samurai from Wano, at least especially with the way the hairstyle is there. But, you had a unification of people to kind of combat this great tyrant. That I do believe right now is being depicted is Emu, and that was 800 years ago, right? Just when the whole Void Century basically happened. We kind of start to get a little bit of a clearer picture, right? And in the documents that was it Robin? I believe it was Robin was reading out. You had the first world, second world, third world, which the third world we're in now. At this point in the first world, land was significantly different, right? There was not really islands. There was probably something more akin to continents. And the shared view of many of these people fueled some type of technological advancement, with the depiction here on the right side looking like smokestacks, skyscrapers, other stuff like that, things that kind of seem a little bit more modern. And when you kind of think about it, One Piece is kind of sometimes shown to us as kind of an allegory for the real world, right? The deception of the government and higher powers that lie to us, have things propagandized to us, and so many other things are much darker than they seem. You have the people that are just blissfully unaware, enjoying their days, having good times and all that stuff. But in reality, there's so much evil, so much darkness hidden behind all that. For the ancient world, right? Not 800 years ago, not with Joy Boy, but before him, possibly with Nika. You basically see a depiction here of people slaving away, dying, retrieving an energy source, and just kind of going about that same business, right? And when it comes to the second world with Joy Boy, again, both these characters, they were liberators, but yet they still somehow failed. And they're obviously, for sure, we know some type of betrayal happened with Joy Boy. Could said thing have happened as well with Nika, where someone that he trusted betrayed him? Kind of like the whole Judas thing, right, with Christianity. What if that is what makes the difference this time around? Is that these alliances, these partners that you have aren't flimsy, right? Everybody has a reason to be fighting alongside Luffy, and in such a devout manifestation, because as far as we've seen, especially with Luffy, there hasn't been many people that try to, what is the word? They haven't tried to deceive Luffy in that same way. God damn it, there's the words on the tip of my tongue. They're not subverting expectation, right? They're fully on board with their captain. Every time they've been questioned, oh, Luffy's never going to be the king of the pirates. All of his crew members have said, no, he is going to be king of the pirates. And we're going to be the ones that see him to that spot, right? Even if they're outmatched, outpowered by greater threats, right? Better people that know, or so that have stronger devil fruits, people that are just more skilled in combat, Doesn't matter. Even the weakest of his crew still believes in that future, which could very well be the reason why Luffy will succeed. You know, you can say, oh, well, he's Garp's grandson. He's the son of Dragon. He had Ace and Sabo as brothers, taught him a lot of things. Shanks, brought him along this pathway, sort of, by the means that, didn't deter him necessarily. He just kind of encouraged him to be a pirate. And I think Luffy is the only one, obviously for the story that we're being given, to actually be both. He is a god of destruction, but a god of liberation. There's been times, again, like in Dressrosa, Alabasta, even Fishman Island, where the people basically came to terms with, hey, we don't care if our land is being destroyed. If you can free us from this oppressive regime, this oppressive person that is subjugating us, we're all for it. At least we can move and build back what we had lost. Something that Loki doesn't understand about the Sun God. Something that Teach doesn't understand about it. Roxy Sebek doesn't understand about it. There's probably a reason why Goldie Roger was just fucking laughing his ass off when he saw what was left at Laugh Tale. What he got to name Laugh Tale. To him, it was a funny ass story, because, as he said, well, I was born in the wrong era, right? Possibly indicating that, I would like to have been able to exist when there was more land. But what if it's the opposite? What if it's saying, if Joy Boy, Sun God Nika, right? If Roger was able to exist in that era, would he have been able to turn the tides, help them fulfill the destiny that is kind of prophesized? Because we definitely know from, I think her name is Shuri, I might be wrong, the lady from Fishman Island that prophesizes about Luffy's destruction of Fishman Island. Yeah, that all her fortunes were true and have come true. So there's no doubt that Fishman Island will be destroyed by Luffy. But I don't think it'll be for the wrong reasons. Again, they would like to be able to live amongst the people on the surface. But it's just that the oppression that they get from the Celestial Dragons and the world government, the black market of being sold off, right? Those are all things that are highly deterrent for them. Because why are they going to want to go to the surface just to be kidnapped, sold in the black market, and then, used as slaves? Something else to kind of point out. I'm going to use this image first, but then we'll go to the other one. This was pointing out some things, but you see that this predecessors to the Skypians, right, the Lumerians, they didn't have black wings. They had white wings. So did the Lumerians come from the moon? Or were they from another planet that moved here as well? Something's still yet to be fully dissected, possibly not even ever really addressed again, other than King being the only sole survivor of his race. Because he is a Lumerian, but the people of Skypiea are not the same as King. King can still use his wings, right? He has a flame on the back of his back. But you don't have that with the Skypians, right? They have small wings and then antennas. In this one, guess what? We see some people with antennas there. And again, what people point out, this person in the middle has a serpent-like head, which, if we go back to this mural, highly resembles the red serpent that became the red line, possibly, right? In this second and final person that we see here has some little dot or little spikes, whatever, on his helmet. Kind of resembles what Emo, if this is Emo at all, resembles. And again, he also does have wings like the Skypians, like the Lumerians, but it also seems like he's holding the Mother Flame, or some kind of same energy source, right? The thing about this mural, right, and even as it says there, the city on the moon, also named Burka, lacking natural resources, they flew to the blue planet. I think this part right here is depicting the arrival of them getting to the blue planet, whatever the name of the One Piece planet is called, we don't know yet, right? But this looks like a sea king. This looks like some kind of giant fucking lobster. This right here on the top looks like the Mother Flame, right? The same kind of energy source that was used to destroy Leloucia. I think these three have higher meaning than we're actually giving them credit for, because each of them have a different headdress, and it seems to line up almost exactly how we see it here, right? It can't just be a coincidence. There ain't no way. As we've already been told countless times, Oda already has the ending of One Piece figured out. He's just trying to fit in everything else that's in the middle, write it out, detail, and other shit like that. And Skypiea, having been one of the most, or foreshadowing, gives me no doubt that with Enel's cover story, the fact that he's still around and all that, gives credence to that. Anything that is dealing on with him, especially in these murals, it's going to heavily foreshadow what is going to happen at the end. Lastly, again, I know I'm on Google here, but I just trying to get this fucking panel, couldn't get it up, but whatever. So some people, are you kidding me? The Sun God isn't a ruler. That's right, he's the god of liberation. Another one, more like destruction. Nah, you're wrong. Everyone knows that he's the god of laughter. Plenty of examples of what Luffy has been. He's been a god of liberation. He's been a god of destruction, and he's been a god of laughter. Some people, Wano, right, with the small fruits. No, he's brought joy to a lot of people, especially in his nature, right? He is of the mind of a child. Impulsive at most, yes. Hungry, yes, quite a bit. But he does things out of the kindness, the pureness of his heart. I know there's, granted, you want to call it canon or not, but in a crossover with Dragon Ball, he's able to ride the Nimbus cloud. And the only kind of people that are able to ride the Nimbus cloud are those pure of heart. He holds no such sentiment the same way as many of the other pirates he's come across. But he's also acknowledged, I'm not a hero. I am not a hero. And I don't know if you've ever heard that term, those best to lead us are usually the ones that don't want it the most. If there's someone that is hungry for power, wants to be the leader, wants to just, put themselves on such a high pedestal, they're probably not the best suited for the job. But the ones that are kind of, they relent, they're very much like, no, you know what? Give it to someone else. I don't, they're being humble about it. Those are actually some of the most best people to have for the job, because they don't put their own self-interest above others. And as was pointed out in some of the videos I was watching, for every island that Luffy has gone to, he's represented what the people want for that island, right? The liberation, the freedom, the ability to have endless food and not be starving. And the one time that didn't happen in the arcs was the one with Marineford, right? The Paramount War. He went on with self-interest, personal self-interest, and failed. I don't think that's because, he didn't have a strong enough will. He definitely did. He stood up to the 3 vice admirals and still lost. All right? Yes, he did free Ace, but guess what? Ace still died. There was no people to champion him, which in a way kind of fuels his need to win, right? He was in such shock after everything that happened, he almost gave up. He was almost disillusioned and could have been one of the worst villains, or best villains, obviously, that could have existed. You don't get that when he's fighting for the people. That's why it's important for Luffy's story to have something to fight for, a reason to fight for, a reason to liberate, a reason to make people laugh. He makes many people laugh just out of his innocent nature, right? Boa Hancock, you can say obviously Bartolomeo, but he's a fanboy. Many others, the Giants, they just find him amusing, right? His rambunctious nature, his perseverance, right? His over-the-top aspirations, and it really puts into a picture of like, hey, if you have enough heart, if you're kind and pure enough, right? He wants to be a pirate because he wants to be free, but he doesn't want to be a tyrant, as he's seen with other pirates before him. Whenever he's pushed to have to fight against said characters, he usually prevails because his aspirations, you could say, are more true. Yeah. There's definitely more reason behind it, right? Let's just cut back here. I hope that makes enough sense. I definitely think that the things that are going on with One Piece right now and the build-up that we're getting, we know that some people will die, right? And the fact that he's been able to champion so many people to his side without even trying sometimes, and he makes it evidently so. He doesn't even want to be in charge of a grand fleet. He still is, right? He is an Emperor of the Sea. He wouldn't have that title if he wasn't able to champion people to his side. It's the humbleness, it's the push that he gives of like, nah, I don't think I want that, right? And then it makes people yearn for his validation even more. It just makes sense, I would say. All in all, I think the things that are going on with Luffy make a lot more sense. That he is the all-encompassing god of liberation, god of destruction, god of laughter. He is not just one singular thing, or whatever title. He is a coalition of all of them put together, and for a very good reason, because, as is stated, the Nika fruit is one of those only type of fruits that is able to elude the government, right? It's able to elude capture. It has a will of its own. I think this will would perfectly reflect all the times that it lost prior, and be able to see this time, I'm going to pick someone that can do me right, can push out and put out the dreams that we are trying to accomplish. And if we are able to do it properly, then we will finally be able to liberate the world, destroy the evils of the world, and make people laugh all around. I think that's just the thing that makes the most sense, especially with more context that we've been given about this Nika Nika fruit. It, at least that's just what clicks in my head after reading all this stuff, seeing how it played out in Egghead, how it played out in Wano, the foreshadowing from Skypiea. Just my thoughts. But let me know down below what y'all think. Am I a little bit loony about my ideas, or does it make sense? You know? With that being said, this is Shinigami signing out. Y'all have a good night, good evening, and good morning. And it's been a wonderful time listening and talking out to y'all. So, I'll see you next time. Bye.